Hi there, time for another batch of new products. I initially didn't want to do TV shows here, but since I'm already watching a lot of shonen shows, I'm glad I got to watch these popular shows to see what everyone was talking about. Let's get started with a video game series that has quite a few anime series with it. It's better known for its games though. Danganronpa Hairpin, 3 centimeters or 1 inch. Danganronpa is a murder mystery and trial game series where the story is centered around a new group of trapped high school students as the games go on. That's as basic a description of the games as you can get, but it's anime style and a Japanese game at that, so of course it's filled with over-the-top crazy silliness. For instance, instead of red blood, it's pink. No one knows why, and it's best not to question it. It's a style at this point. I guess it's to go down on age ratings, but the themes of despair and murder still make it dark for anybody. I've watched playthroughs of the first 2 games and the spin-off game. I've only personally played the 3rd game of the main series, and it was the first time I felt bad for playing it and using the fictional characters for my enjoyment. Try it out and you'll see what I mean. The first anime series is an animation version of the first game, then the other series take place in between all the games. It helps to connect the games better, but it's best to play all the games before watching any of the anime. It's meant mainly for the fans. I'm not sure if someone who has never played the games can enjoy its quirks. You can follow the story somewhat, but it's always easier for fans. This hairpin is accessory of the video game master high schooler Chiaki Nanami, and its design is based on the 80s game Galaga. It's a cute pin that any gamer would love and recognize. On to something even more recognizable in the anime world. Spirited Away figure set, no face, 10 centimeters or 4 inches. Spirited Away is a 2001 movie created by the great Hayao Miyazaki. Chihiro, a 10-year-old, gets lost with her family in the spirit world. Her parents eat the food, somehow not thinking it's suspicious, then magically turn to pigs. A mysterious boar named Haku appears to help Chihiro turn her parents back to normal and escape the spirit world. He seems to be able to turn into a dragon, which is awesome, and I can't tell if he's a spirit or a god who got tricked into working for the bathhouse witch, Yubaba. He leads Chihiro to work for Yubaba so she can stay close to her parents, and go on an adventure to free them all from Yubaba's grasp. I watched this movie a lot as a kid. It's a quiet movie, which was great for me as a kid who didn't understand others. I had to go off of facial and body expression. And great animations like this really connected with me and helped me understand what was going on, even without dialogue a lot of the time. No Face is a spirit who Chihiro runs into and shows decency towards it. It causes the spirit to follow her and want her attention. It does it the worst way possible, like eating other spirits and thereby gaining their appearances and personalities. It also gives away fake gold to everyone and becomes adored by in-staff. Miyazaki made this character only speed along the plot. However, I think his power is meant to be somehow the more people are around, the more likely corruption occurs. At the end of the movie, No Face stays with Yubaba's sister, Zeniba, a good witch, and becomes docile in the calm, solitary environment. I always thought this spirit was creepy, but he is animated very well and is one of the most iconic things in the movie. This little figure set just shows the standard No Face and 4 other No Faces holding some simple items like an umbrella. The standard No Face is iconic but simple. If you want a little variety, you can choose any of the other versions. It'd be fun markers to use to find your umbrella, lanterns, and shopping bags. On to another Studio Ghibli classic, one that really scared me as a kid with its gore. Princess Mononoke figure set Kodama, 2.5 to 4 centimeters, or 1 to 1.5 inches. This movie came out 4 years before Spirited Away, but the quality and style of Studio Ghibli still holds up, and there's never any mistake on who made such movies and story. It's like watching Disney for anime. Princess Mononoke starts off with a cursed boar rampaging through a small village. Ashitaka, the last prince of this village, saved them from the boar, but his right arm becomes infected with the same curse that afflicted the boar. If it spreads through his body, he will die. He goes on an adventure to find the forest spirit so he can be healed. Ashitaka meets San, a human woman who was raised by wolf spirits, or gods, as the wolf mother says. They're basically giant wolves who can talk, which is cool. He then travels to an innovative manufacturing city on the cusp of inventing guns to kill the nature spirits. This war between nature and civilizations is the heart of the movie, and it took many years for me to realize this. It took even longer for me to sympathize with the civilization side, discovering there's no right side to this war. Ashitake doesn't pick a side either, but he tries to stop the war from going too far. You see these kodamas appear in the movie, but they have no consequence to the story, but they're based on actual Japanese myths. They basically reside in trees, and some say if a tree is over 100 years old, then they appear. If you can cut them down, then misfortune or curse is befallen on you. A myth that holds up to this day, as a lot of trees in Japan have ropes tied around them, signaling they're never to be cut down. Just that act alone makes these trees look sacred. These small figure sets shows the most iconic spirits of the movie, and you can place these in your own sacred garden, and possibly on the roots of your family tree. Next show is all about cursed humans and yokai, but since I'm older when I watched this, I had an easier experience watching the violence the first time around. Demon Slayer figures, Tanjiro and Nezuko. 15 centimeters or 6 inches. Demon Slayer is a new popular anime that came out earlier this year from Ufotable. It begins with Tanjiro going into the village selling wood that his family cuts for a living. While he was heading back late at night, a neighbor stops him on his way home and tells him to stay with him for the night, as demons only come out at night. Tanjiro sleeps safely, but the next morning, he finds the old man was right and his entire family was slaughtered the night before by a demon. He checks them, and all he finds is Nezuko, his oldest sister, is the only warm one. However, she has been exposed to demon wounds and has turned into a demon desperate to eat Tanjiro. A wandering demon slayer comes by and saves Tanjiro from Nezuko. Tanjiro begs for his sister's life, and Nezuko doesn't eat Tanjiro and actually protects him. This convinces the demon slayer to put a mouthguard on Nezuko and advises Tanjiro to go train under a demon slayer mentor to become a demon slayer. Tanjiro goes on this journey with his demon-powered sister to find a way to turn her back into a human. I've only watched the dubbed episodes, but I know it's good, so I'll keep watching it from now on. I can see why everyone likes this show. It really feels like a Japanese fable, and I hope it runs as long as Dragon Ball. These figures are a great sibling pair. You can't have one without the other, so get both, please. Nezuko is fun to watch, but I hope she gets more screen time and interactions besides protecting people, so I can get a feel for her personality. I used to quiet characters, so she's not boring me. Tanjiro has a familiar feel to him, with his overly earnest sincerity, but he's unique enough. He never forgets that demons used to be human and didn't choose to eat people. He's forgiving when it comes to that, but he still kills them, putting an end to demons and their victims' misery. He's really pure-hearted. Of course, he reserves his righteous anger towards the demon that killed his family and infected Nezuko and all other demons. The first demon that has ever existed. The last show of this episode I heard mixed reviews on, and yet it was still popular. I was reluctant to watch, but I got through the first half of the season no worse for wear. Sword Art Online figure, Asuna. 18 centimeters or 6 inches. SAO has a bit of a reputation. I don't know why exactly, but after watching it I can sympathize, but I don't agree on bearing arms on it. Yet. Further watching may be required for me to get to that point. SAO is a submersive VR video game that traps over 10,000 players at launch in this fantasy MMO RPG that doesn't have a magic system at all, so therefore I won't buy it, but I digress. If the VR helmet is forced off, the player dies via microwaves, melting the brain, and the same is true if the avatar's HP reached 0. The only way to get out alive is to beat the boss on floor 100. It has video game elements, but a new mechanic seems to pop up every episode out of thin air, And not to mention, the story pops forward in time so much at once. It feels rushed. I get so confused on what is going on. Asuna is the eventual wife of Kirito, the main protagonist who was a beta tester of the game. He gets a head start when it comes to this game of death. Asuna was a noob like a lot of other characters who not only never played this new VR game, but games in general. It makes basic game elements like parties and switching explain to the viewer, which would work if video games were a very niche concept. However, I can't complain. I explained the plot of Dragon Ball even though everyone knows about it. They first met when beating the first floor with the first guild, the Assault Team. The guild hates beta testers for withholding info on the game and kicks Kirito out when they find out. Eventually, they meet again after, I don't know how long, a year? Asuna follows Kirito's hypocritical advice of joining a guild and becomes second in command, rapier fighter of the most powerful guild. They hang out and in 2 or 3 episodes get married. It wasn't a genuine relationship to me, starting from arguing non-stop with each other to married and buying a house. I was more interested in how they'll beat the game, but they keep skipping far into levels and floors in favor of new characters that go nowhere special. I still rather watch Log Horizon. Now that show is smart with the trapped in a video game story. Always make more seasons of these, please. What was I talking about? Oh, the episode's already over. Oh well. Thanks for watching me, hopefully for the second time. Please vote on our Facebook page under surveys to pick the next faction products. This time for the new year. The first month of this show took some getting used to, but my New Year's resolution is to make it a show that has consistent surveys, show times, and no all-nighters in order to meet deadlines. I need to be alive in order to enjoy anime. See you next time. Don't forget to share the fan love.